What is going on, Cowboys Nation? We are back here with another film session, and this video is on Mazi Smith. It's so good to be able to see him go out there and have a good game against the Giants. There have been a lot of questions about his play this season, and one thing about that defensive tackle position, we need these guys to be able to step up. If it's Linval Joseph, Mazi Smith, that one technique position is important when it comes down to the center of the gridiron. And it's been rough as far as Mazi Smith because I actually ended up creating a video on Twitter X and it got over 200,000 views. I posted a video of Mazi Smith completely getting removed on a play, and that video went crazy. Maybe Mazi Smith ended up seeing that video because in the next few days, he went out there and balled out. And I don't think that Mazi Smith is a bad player, but having your heart in it and having an understanding of what Mike Zimmer wants to do, proper positioning, all of that is going to be key when it comes down to that one technique position, not just brute strength. But seeing these clips here shows promise. And these are the things that we like to hear when it comes down to Mazi Smith. So on this play here, we like for our defensive tackles to be able to line up against these centers and be physical. The better defensive tackles in the NFL, they find ways to be able to get their hands on these guys and quickly get away from these centers and disrupt these run plays. And there are times where when you see Mazi on a defensive line, he will show flashes of that. But the main thing with this player is consistency. It will be a run play in the interior, but seeing Mazi Smith getting his hands on that center and finding a way to be able to close in on a running back was a great thing to see this past Thursday. So we'll go ahead and run it. So zooming in on Mazi Smith, they're getting off the ball and he gives him a quick swipe move. And the thing is with Mazi, he's an extremely powerful player. If you give him the opportunity to do that, he has the strength to be able to reset you, crashing into this running back and making a play. And it's so crazy because he's literally putting his weight on that running back's back, swinging his legs. And you don't want a guy that's that heavy, that's riding behind you like that, going out there and finishing the play. And this is what you want when it comes down to Mazi Smith. It's not always about being powerful. There are some players in the NFL that are extremely strong and they're not that good. Can you use your hands well? Can you play with great technique and position yourself to not get washed out of plays? We did hear about him saying that he doesn't like football. He just likes to hit people. But you got to like football to get the technique things down, because if you can be able to do that, it's going to make you that much better of a defensive tackle. And these are the type of reps here that players can mentally build on and have confidence going forward. But seeing the hand usage from Mazi Smith, resetting that center and closing in on a running back is what we want to see when it comes down to the young defensive tackle. One thing about the defensive tackle position, if you're going up against a single offensive lineman and if your responsibility is the two gap, you have to hold your own. If you're lining up across that center, there will be times where you're going to be double teamed and you have to sit in your chair, not getting washed out of that gap. You have to force these running backs to go horizontally and make a decision. There are times where he does get washed out of plays, but on this particular rep here, he made it hard for that center as well as that guard. And when you have those two guys that's busy with one defensive tackle, it allows your linebackers to scrape and get busy. And players like DeMarvion Overshown, if you give him an open opportunity to make a play, he will do that. And this is exactly what you want from Mazi Smith. So we'll go ahead and run it. So locking on this play here, you see that Mazi is battling with that center and everybody's rushing that way. But you see that guard and that center, they're both busy with Mazi Smith. This is what I want out of a player like Mazi. Keeping both of those offensive linemen occupied and giving the linebacker a chance to go out there and make a play. And this was an awesome play by DeMarvion Overshown, having a clear lane to be able to attack that running back, but it all starts with the trenches. If you're holding your ground and giving these offensive linemen trouble, you're going to see a better DeMarvion Overshown, Eric Kendricks, as well as guys like Maurice Liufau. And it's been a very long time since we have seen solid play at that defensive tackle position. So a player like Mazi Smith is going to have to be consistent and lead the way. We know that he's had that shoulder injury. Last year was his first year. I'm not going to give up on this player because I see talent within this player, but it's up to him to be able to bring that out. And usually with these one technique defensive tackles, they're not going to fill the stat sheets up like a three technique would. But if you can be a player that can be able to reset the line of scrimmage and allow your safeties as well as your linebackers to go out there and make plays, that'll definitely be a green light for Mazi or anybody else that's playing that one technique position. So here's a rep here where Mazi Smith is lined up right in between that center and that guard. That guard is going to be attacking Mazi Smith, but the good thing about being in a proper position, sometimes you can have leverage before the ball is even snapped. That center is going to be trying to climb to the second level, but before that, he's going to use his left arm to try to distract Mazi Smith from being able to close in from the backfield. But the problem is, Mazi Smith is too strong for an offensive lineman to use just one arm to try to block him. And he has solid short area quickness to go out there and finish the play. So let's run it. So zooming in on this play here, you see that he had great positioning. That center gave him that one arm. And with that guard, you don't want to block in the back. So you had to let him go, giving him a free lane to the running back, and Mazi Smith attacks him. And it's so funny because Mazi Smith completely flipped this player. You can see his leg just flying in the air. That just tells you that Mazi Smith went out there and finished his food. And playing that defensive tackle position, you got to be one of those gritty type of players. It allows all the players to play better. These offenses, if they can't run the ball, it closes a part of their playbook. And there's a reason why they picked this player in the first round. He was stout coming out of college, but it has to transition to the big leagues. But looking at this play from the side view here, you can just see the offensive lineman never had a chance to begin with. Don't know how good these offensive linemen are from the Giants, but this will definitely get your confidence up. But there goes that flip right there, completely throwing this guy like a rag doll. And yes, he was down on this play. I don't know why he's still running, but I love to see this from Mazi. He was definitely jumping off the screen, clogging lanes up, as well as stopping runs in the backfield. And when you make these plays like this on Sundays when it matters, it'll definitely get our attention. Here's a rep where Mazi Smith showed great effort. Can you be a defensive tackle who plays to the whistle? He will face a lot of double teams this season, but by maintaining leverage throughout this play and staying patient, sometimes these ball carriers can fall right into your lap. And this is another solid rep by Mazi Smith. So we're going to spin it. So keying in on Mazi Smith, you see that center's using that one arm. This time the guard was able to get both of his hands on him. 76 attack Maurice Leofow, giving Mazi Smith an opening to go get in on that action. And with Mike Zimmer's defense, everybody's going to have to rally to the ball, especially if you don't have Micah Parsons or DeMarcus Lawrence coming up in this game. So not only the one technique position, the three technique, the left end, and that right end, they have to be on top of it. So when you see the defensive linemen all rallying to the ball and attacking at the same time, sometimes these running backs, they'll fumble the ball. That's why with these coaches, they press it all the time. Go out there and play to the whistle. And with Mazi Smith all throughout this game, you could tell that it seemed as if he was playing with his hair on fire. And we're going to need this type of defensive tackle play like this if we're going to go on a stretch run. So on this final play here, we see another example of Mazi's effectiveness. He positioned himself well, stood his ground, and forced the runner to make a quick decision. It's important to note that at that defensive tackle position, you can significantly impact a play even if the ball isn't coming your way. Two gapping and holding your ground are crucial skills that can disrupt the offense's game plan. So we're going to split it. So looking at this play here, you see that they're motioning to the right. These guys get off the ball and they engage in contact. And it's so good to see Mazi bench press this offensive lineman, being in control of both of those gaps and holding his own. And usually players like Micah Parsons, Marshawn Nealon, you will see them rally to the ball and make plays. And this was by far the best game for Mazi Smith in his career. Mike Zimmer is going to have to continue to put this guy in position to win. He has the strength. We all know that he was on Bruce Feldman's freak list, but it's not always about being a strong player. You got to have the proper technique as well as the right coaching to go with it. And Mazi Smith definitely silenced a few critics with his performance this past Thursday. So with Mazi Smith, it's going to be good to see how this all plays out with this player. The thing is about that defensive tackle position, if it's not working, you got to keep nabbing at it. If Linval Joseph, Jordan Phillips, or any of those one techniques, if they're not getting the job done, you got to go out there and find more players because you don't want your season to come down to this position alone. If Mazi Smith is playing well in the interior, it's going to bring the best out of everybody on this defense. He's not going to be perfect out there, but if you can be able to display what you did against the Giants more often, it's going to put you in the right position to take that next step. But being confident, understanding what the coaches want you to do is going to be huge for this guy going forward. And if you're a first round pick for the Dallas Cowboys, we expect you to go out there and make a difference. We've been patient, but at this point now, Mike Zimmer's on a 1-year deal. Mike McCarthy's on a 1-year deal. There are no excuses for the Dallas Cowboys. The time is now. With Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence being hurt, Marshawn Nealon, and anybody that's on that defensive line, it is go time. So it's going to be good to see how it all plays out. But seeing Mazi Smith having a good game against the Giants, hopefully this play will be a step in the right direction for him. So comment below and let me know what y'all think about Mazi Smith's game against the Giants. And do y'all think that he'll get this turned around for this stretch run? So make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe and hit that notification bell, because the way the YouTube algorithm works, if you don't hit it, you'll miss on fire live streams and the best Cowboys film sessions on YouTube. All right, Cowboys Nation. Talk to y'all soon. Gone.